Welcome back to another week of Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. Boy, well, won't this be fun? Pardon my long intro here, but of course we're brought to you by our great friends at Conway Furniture here in Listowel on Highway 86. If you want a great product, unlike the Blue Jays, you go see our friends at Conway Furniture. Also brought to you by our great friends at Larry Hudson Chevrolet Buick GMC. If you want great service, unlike the Blue Jays, you go to Larry Hudson's, 1000 Wallace Avenue here in Listowel.
He has a hat.
And our friends at the Listowel Squash Courts. If you want to actually enjoy sports again and feel good about yourself, unlike the way the Blue Jays make us feel, you go join the Listowel Squash Courts. I'm Ryan Drury, joined by Chris Clark, and we're very happy to have our friend. Yes, we're actually happy today. We are happy to have Barry Davis, longtime Blue Jays analyst, back on the show. Now, Barry, we're happy to see you, but we're not very excited about the BS that we were just exposed to this week. Can you please tell me how you're feeling and your breakdown of an absolute cataclysmic disaster?
First of all, Ryan, I got to tell you, following your tweets was one of the most entertaining things for me during this entire collapse of a postseason for the Blue Jays. I was looking at you were one of the best, but Twitter was just outrageous during this whole
Wasn't
thing.
it something?
Oh God. I had to sound down. I had to sound up on the game, and I was watching Twitter because it was a lot more entertaining than what I was seeing on the field. But everyone is right. And that's the crazy thing, because normally, okay, let's talk about the decision, because that's the number one topic, right? The Berrios decision, and whether or not that John Schneider made that decision himself. And this is what pisses me off, guys, is that, Clarkey, what my nickname was when I was a reporter. I'd ask the question, and I was really disappointed that, and if someone did ask that, I'd like to know, but I don't remember hearing any quote from Schneider. Whose decision was it? Mm-hmm. Was that your call, John, or was it coming from the higher ups? I would have loved to have had somebody ask that question.
Yeah, it's almost like they're afraid to ask.
I agree. He did kind of address it, where he said somebody asked him about how difficult it was to pull Berrios. And then he kind of said, yeah, it was a tough decision. And I understand that when we lose, it's easy to criticize. And it's like, well, yeah, it's kind of why we're all sitting here, Johnny. Like, what? Cheers for the obvious, that great. I'm just, look, we got a lot to get to here, and what I thought we would do is we'll do this in two halves, if you will. What I want to start with is the front office and the coaching staff of this team, which has been a hot topic all year for very good reason. So let's start there. And I just want to ask you flat out, Barry, and I think you're on the same wavelength as we are here. Do Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins both deserve to still be employed by the Toronto Blue Jays?
I say get them out. It's clean house time, guys. Let's face it. I was a big Alex Anthopoulos guy, and to see what he's done in Atlanta and see what's gone on here with the Blue Jays. And again, that's not to say that they've been terrible at building a team, because before the season started, most people looked at that roster, and including probably all of us, and said, this is a team that has an opportunity to go deep into the postseason, right? Now, the problem is, okay, so maybe at the beginning of the season, this team on paper was what they were looking for. But as your season progresses and you start to see where the holes are, then as a management team, you've got to start looking at what you can do to improve that team and fill those holes. They had arguably the best pitching staff in baseball, and it's such a waste because that pitching staff could have taken them to the World Series. But they had the opportunity to improve the team. They also had the opportunity to find out and dig deep into what the hell is going on with Vladimir Guerrero. what's going on in his head. And listen, they take the home run jacket away because they don't want to have, they want him to be more serious. Well, maybe Vladimir Guerrero needs to realize that when he's at first base, it's not let's have a fun, joking chat with the team that we're playing against in the postseason, especially when we're losing. It's serious time. Grown-ups are working. So there were so many things that just utterly pissed me off with what I was seeing. And again, a lot of that comes on management, and a lot of that comes on John Schneider too, because his job is to put players in the position that would best see them succeed. And Kevin Biggio hitting fifth to me is not the best position for that guy to succeed in. Your turn.
Yeah. Clarkey, why don't you offer some thoughts here on the front office?
Well, I definitely agree with Barry. It's time to clean house. Is Eddie Rogers going to clean house? I have my doubts. And if I hear that they have to keep Shapiro around because they're renovating the Skydome, you can just take that and not renovate the Skydome then. If that guy is the only guy who can be in charge of the renovation, then give me...
You don't think the plans have been written for months and months and months?
Exactly.
All that's done. They're in the building phase now.
The only thing that Shapiro did was get the team eliminated sooner so the renovations can start sooner. That's the only thing he's done. And guys, give me a couple minutes here, Ryan. I want to take you through. I have said all year this is not a playoff team. This is not a World Series team. And I want to just show you the standings for this year. This team only won 89 games. It wasn't that good of a team. 89 wins in the years prior to the wild card wouldn't have got you anywhere. They would have been 11 games back.
They've had 90-win seasons and not been good enough to get in.
Exactly. I want to go back now. I want to go back into the past because that's where I like to live. Because that's where Barry and I saw a lot of games, a lot of good baseball teams before you were even born, Ryan Jury.
Exhibition Stadium, baby.
1985. This franchise just a few years old. 99 wins. That was a very, very, very good team that had a chance to win the World Series. Unfortunately, Kansas City beat them after the Jays were up 3-1. And then let's go ahead even more and look at some other. Oh, look at 90. It's hard for me to see that. 98 wins. Another good team. And we work our way through to the World Series years, and it's just you can see that this team was very good. And I know, like the Phillies are an anomaly. Like last year, they came out of nowhere, but these Blue Jay teams were World Series teams, and they led the division, and teams with 89 wins wouldn't even had a sniff, and they would have fired guys left, right, and center because they didn't make the playoffs. But then you go to 2016, Anthopoulos' year. Yeah, sure. They made the playoffs. They beat Baltimore on that one-game playoff. And remember, Shapiro was in place there, Texas.
During that 2016 season, he was already running the show by then.
Yep, exactly, he was. But then you go ahead to 2022, last year. This team isn't very good under these guys, Ryan. They're just not very good. And if it wasn't for the wild card, they would have been forgotten about weeks ago. Anyway, I just wanted to show you the difference between with this wild card now and actually having a good team. I think the wild card is really masking a good team versus an average team. That's just my opinion. And these guys got to go. They got to go.
Clarkey.
But will they go? I don't know.
Clarkey, if I'm not mistaken, the Blue Jays with that record had a better record than Minnesota.
Oh, they did have a better record than Minnesota, and they should have won. And people are telling me that wasn't a good matchup for them because Minnesota has good pitching. I got news for you. The way the Blue Jays hitters are, any team has good pitching.
But guess what? The Blue Jays had good pitching too.
Exactly.
Right. And Minnesota found ways of scoring runs.
Yep.
Right. But again.
And there's no question. We're going to get into this decision, I know. Maybe now. But that decision by John Schneider to pull Berrios wasn't his decision. There's no way it was his decision, and it wasn't Ross Atkins' decision either. To me, Mark Shapiro has two puppets in this organization. One is Ross Atkins, and one is John Schneider. And Ross Atkins is his paper pusher, and when they make a trade that Shapiro makes, Ross Atkins does all the paperwork and might get a hold of the team, but Shapiro signs off on everything. Shapiro is the computer geek, and it just, as Barry said, Alex Anthopoulos was such a better general manager than both of these bozos. It's just unbelievable that Rodgers got rid of them.
I'm going to take what you said a step further. And it wasn't even Shapiro's call to pull Berrios. It was a computer's call to pull Berrios. They got by their data.
I agree.
Their data said this. And, when you see people that have been in the game, that have been members of the Blue Jays, like Ricky Romero and Vernon Wells, actually ripping the decision publicly. When you have a guy in Whit Merrifield who questions the decision publicly.
Yeah.
And how do you think Berrios must have felt out on the mound? First inning, second inning, they've got all these guys warming up in the bullpen. And he's dealing. Dealing.
And Schneider says after the game he had his best stuff ever.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't understand it. And I get the computer, but somewhere up top, someone has to say, we need to listen to the computer. We need to listen to the computer. And to me, that's Mark Shapiro.
Here's my issue with all of this. It's immaterial to me who it was that made the call. The computer, the Excel spreadsheet, Shapiro, Atkins, Schneider. Immaterial. It doesn't matter to me because it's got a grip on the entire way this organization operates. And that is a gigantic problem.
Yes.
I've said this 1,000 times before, Clarkey, on this show when we've talked about Leafs failures, a football team coming up short, whatever it may be. Analytics has an absolute place in sports. I think that they're valuable. And Barry brought up the tweet from Vernon Wells. I'll read it to you now. There's absolutely no need to bash analytics. We need people to balance information and what they see unfolding in front of them. Trust what you see. Trust how dominant that pitcher is in that situation. Feel for the game cannot be lost to algorithms. And I've had people say this to me before. You know this, Clarkey. I love the Oakland A's as well. They're going to be moved, and I hate it. But people bring this up to me all the time. Well, Ryan, your favorite baseball, my favorite sports movie ever is Moneyball. I love the book too. How can you be so when that Moneyball team? Look, that Moneyball team had to do that because they had no other option.
Mm-hmm. They had no money, man.
And they had no money. And so Billy Beane, who's one of the greatest sports executives of all time, said, I have nothing. And so what I need to do is try and find a unique way to find some guys who could maybe be undervalued, and maybe putting them all together could put a Cinderella patchwork team. They had a career catcher playing first base. Scott Hatterberg, I love the guy to death. Like, no one would try that now. Not a team with money. Do you think if the Oakland Athletics had like even a middling budget during those days, that they would have had Scott Hatterberg playing first? God love the guy. No. Johnny Damon still would have been on the team. So don't give me this, well, Ryan, you love Moneyball. No, I don't. I love the story of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I love analytics. There's no better place for analytics than baseball. And we've discussed why before. It's pretty obvious. It's the same action happening over and over, and the numbers hold more relevance. That said, this isn't a simulation. We're not playing MLB The Show. We're not playing out of the park baseball, because that's what they're doing. I'm really good at out of the park baseball. If that's all it takes, hire me, Ed. I'll do it for way less. I'm really good at it. But that's not what you do. These are real people. And to pull Jose Berrios in the fashion they did, well, the computer said that left-handed hitters, dude, you can't do that. Listen, there have been a lot of great pitchers over the years. Do you think in any realm of reality that there were some guys that maybe had good batting averages against Randy Johnson, Walter Johnson, Bob Gibson? Yeah. But when Bob Gibson was shredding people apart, they didn't take him off the mound. As a matter of fact, in the World Series, I believe he's one of only 2 pitchers ever to pitch a complete game in a Game 7 of a World Series. They didn't take Hoot off the mound. They didn't take the big unit off the mound in Arizona, Seattle, or New York. When a dude is showing you in real life that he's shredding guys to pieces, you gotta let that roll, dude. And that's my biggest problem with this front office. They don't react to what's happening in real life. It happened at the trade deadline the last 2 years, and it's a complete opposite. Last year, the team could hit, couldn't pitch, and they didn't go and get enough pitching help. This year, they had a historically good pitching staff top to bottom, and they couldn't hit, and they didn't go get a bat. They got Paul DeYoung to come play for 20 games. I hate it.
The only thing I'll say, though, to you,
both these guys need to go.
The only thing I'll say to you is your opening remark about I don't care who it is. It doesn't matter. It does matter. Someone is in charge of making sure. But John Schneider is going by a computer instead of watching a game. Someone's in charge of that, and it's got to be Mark Shapiro. It has to be. It has to be him.
I agree.
It has to be.
I agree. And Barry, I want your thoughts on this. John Schneider could have done himself a lot of favors because, again, Jays fan, we're not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
They like to think Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro are the 2 most unrelatable people on earth, and they think we're dumb.
I agree with
John Schneider could have stood up yesterday and said, you know what? I'm not taking this guy off the hill. Yeah. I'm leaving him out there. He could have stood up and been an individual.
Yeah.
I think Cito probably would have stuck to his guns.
Of course, but
Clarkey, you and I know Cito pretty well. I think he would have been. But then again, he never had to deal with the analytics when he was a manager.
Right. But here's the difference too. They have put in the spot a puppet, and Cito wasn't going to be a puppet, and John Gibbons wasn't going to be a puppet,
and Don Mattingly
Charlie Montoya was a
either,
puppet.
By the way,
sorry,
I said Don Mattingly's not going to be a puppet either.
No,
so people are hoping that they fire Schneider and hire Don Mattingly.
I think John Schneider could be a fabulous manager if he given the opportunity to manage, but he's not. He's being told what to do at too many times.
I'll get back into that in a bit. We can discuss the merits of John Schneider as manager, but I do want to say this. Getting back to that decision and the dynamic of Schneider going out to pull Berrios from the game, and I remember when Jack Morris was working with us at Sportsnet, and I had a conversation because, of course. Mm-hmm. He was another guy who pitched not only a complete game in the World Series in '91, but it was a complete game, extra innings. He pitched 10 innings. He's still pitching. Yeah. And I remember asking him, did you ever stand on the mound and think that, I forget the name of the manager, white hair, was going to come to get you? And he goes, no, not at all. He knew better.
Sparky.
Because the only way to know when it's time to pull a pitcher is when you see that it's time for him to go by what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, he'll know when I'm ready to come out, but he's not going to come out here and pull me. Doc's another guy that, Gibby, I remember talking to Gibby, when he had him briefly, he's like, I don't want to pull him because I just know that he's not going to want to come off.
Do you remember David Wells? Getting pulled by Cito that one time and whipping the ball down the third base side. Ryan, maybe that was before your time. Do you remember that? Cito came to get David Wells, and Wells is like, I'm not coming out. And he's like, you're coming out. He whipped the ball down the third base line, like underhanded.
Yeah. But again,
those guys, and I wish that had happened yesterday with Berrios. I wish he had said, I'm not coming out.
That kid, I wish handled it.
I
Yes.
know he handled it
Unbelievable.
right, I guess, but I wish there was more friction there at that moment.
Like,
No,
you
but
got to
what
be
I'm
effing
saying-
kidding me. That's what I
Yeah.
would have loved to just,
Yeah.
you got to be effing kidding me, because
Yeah.
I'm dealing. And
Yeah.
not only am I dealing, but I'm playing against my former team, and I want to beat the crap out of these guys.
Yeah. Or
And-
even when he's walking off the mound to look up to Shapiro and just go like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that would have been
Like,
awesome.
just something.
Right?
Baseball needs a Patrick Roy moment, right? And that was a perfect Patrick Roy moment.
Exactly. That's a good way to put
Well,
it. It's a
they've
good way to
had
put
one because I have seen that Wells clip. It's an infamous clip. One more from my time very recently. Remember in 2019 during the World Series run for the Washington Nationals, the manager went out to get Max Scherzer out of a game in the 7th, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't think so, dude." There were 2 runners on. There was 1 out, and the manager, was it Davey Martinez, came out to get Scherzer, and it's a great clip. Like, look it up. Scherzer's like the second he touched the step, he was like, "Don't you dare come over here." He walked out to like talk to him, and you can see Scherzer sizzling. And he's like, "I'm not coming off." And you can see him mouth the words, "I've got him. I've effing got him." And then Scherzer gets 2 punchies. It was incredible. Like, that's the type of fire I'm looking for. And Davey Martinez, to his credit, went out there and said, "You know what? This guy's he's a psychopath. Max Scherzer is. I'm not taking this guy off the hill. He's going to tear my head off." Randy Johnson would have done the same thing. You walk out there and you're going to take the big unit off in 3 innings? Puke. No way. And John Schneider, look, I said it leading into the last week of the season. I bet he's a great guy, and he's won titles at every other level. He knows these players. I get it. But that actually might be a detriment, that he has such a history and close relationship with these players.
Well, and that's my biggest concern, Ryan. That's actually one of my bigger concerns, and I'll tell you why. Because we've seen the lack of discipline in a lot of these guys. And these are guys that he knows well. These are his boys, Vladimir Guerrero and Bo Bichette in particular. You know, how many dumb base running mistakes do you like? Gibby wouldn't have let that crap go, right? I mean, I remember very well, this is more your time, Ryan, when Kevin Pillar got pulled for a pinch hitter and he threw a tantrum.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what? Gibby literally sent him down after the game. "You're going down to Buffalo." And Pillar said afterwards it was the best thing that ever happened to his career. But the bottom line is, the manager's got to have some balls, man. I'm
agree.
sorry.
I agree.
You know,
and we've seen Gibby, Barry, maybe you've been sitting beside the dugout when these things have happened, but we've seen Gibby chase guys down the hallway.
Yes.
You know?
He did it with Josh Donaldson.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he got to do it with, I mean, this is your star. This was your MVP.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and Chris, again, we're old guys, Ryan. Back in our day, when we go to the ball games and we get to see BP because you actually could see it, they didn't only just have a home run derby that they do. They actually had something called infield practice. You would see guys actually spending every pregame working on the fundamentals of baseball. The time that I traveled with the Blue Jays, I may have seen it once or twice a season. Same with PFPs.
Hold on. Are you kidding me?
No.
Like, I haven't been obviously to a ball game with a press pass in years.
They don't do a proper. They don't do a proper infield. You know, there'll be guys.
They used to do it all the time. There would be one pitch to home plate for the batter, and then one of the guys would hit fungos or whatever they used to call them to the infield. They don't do that anymore.
No, that's spring training. Yeah.
Is that a
regular
thing?
season?
Is that a baseball thing?
No, I have not seen that. I see a guy hitting, like, shagging, like hitting fly balls to the outfielders, and there'll be the occasional guy that's taking ground balls, but not a proper infield practice. Okay, let's do 2. You know, all right, let's do a 5-4-3 here. You know, nothing. You know, you cover this guy and this cover.
Didn't know.
You know what? And this is something I'm seeing a lot in baseball overall, not just the Blue Jays. But do you notice how many more miscommunications you're seeing between outfielders, or an infielder and outfielder, collisions happening with players? I mean, back in our day, Chris, there was a thing that was called communication.
Yeah.
But these guys are like busy looking for their card for the next batter, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right.
No, it's
That's
embarrassing.
my next rant done.
No, I just don't think that. Look, Shapiro, the architects are going to take care of the stadium. And we already know that season tickets are most season ticket packages, the significant ones, especially in the area that they are renovating this year, are going to almost double, if not more than double.
I hope
friend of mine has season tickets, and her season ticket went up from $4,500 to $9,000.
So I would say to your friend and any other Blue Jays season ticket holder that sees this, or a person who's a Jays fan that is thinking about going to a game, particularly opening day, if Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins are still employed by this team in March, do not go. Get your money back. We deserve better than this.
Have you guys ever?
It's so funny because we've how many times after disappointing Leaf seasons have we heard people say that? Okay, it's time to boycott them. We won't watch them. We won't go any. But that doesn't happen in Leaf land. In Blue Jays land, it does to a certain extent. You'll still have that core. But man, do I remember those early 2000s, Clarkey and Ryan? And man, it was so echoey in there, and players knew it and they hated it. The atmosphere was terrible there. So if you win, they will be there. And there is a great opportunity because people love the Blue Jays when they're winning. And they attract a lot of young kids, and I'm seeing a lot more female fans than ever before. And I think that's fantastic too. And people that are coming to the country, that I've got people that I work with that, I'm explaining baseball to because they grew up on cricket. And they're loving it too. And they want to get in on the bandwagon and get the jersey. So there is a huge opportunity here. And they just kicked that right in the teeth this season.
Have you guys ever seen so
you're
much
absolutely right.
Like hatred for this team on Twitter?
No, not like this.
Not
like this.
So I'm hoping that carries over. And the other thing too is, and here's another big reason I think these guys will be gone when all's said and done. If you're a free agent right now, and you just watched that, do you have any interest in coming to Toronto?
No way.
Particularly a pitcher, which they don't need, to be fair. They don't need.
Toronto's already a tough sell. As it is, it's a tough sell. And now you've just add this to the pile.
Yeah.
No, they listen, I can't even imagine what this organization is going to become next season if these changes aren't made. There are plenty of executives out there that would look great as a GM.
I need to ask you about that because we're going to take a quick break here and come back and talk a little bit more about some of the players. We're all on the same page. Shapiro, Atkins, enough's enough. We can't do this anymore. The entire coaching staff, including John Schneider, I bet he's a good guy. Got to go, except for Pete Walker. They need hitting coaches. Pete Walker's the only guy. He's literally the best pitching coach in the league.
Well, and how do you think he feels?
I know. If Donnie,
there's no way it was his call. There's no way it was his
Donnie
call.
Baseball. No. I know. If Donnie Baseball stays, and if they announce Donnie Baseball as the manager, I'd be fine with that too, as long as Shapiro and Atkins aren't around. Now, that said, look, I know that I want your thoughts on this before we take a break, Barry. I thought of this today. Like, look, Gabe Kapler's out there. He just got let go by the Giants. The manager, they're going to figure that out. There's lots of good candidates. In terms of a front office, I know that this sounds unrealistic, but just follow me here. If I'm Ed Rogers or the board there, I know the guy works for the league now. I am doing anything, and I mean anything, to move heaven, hell, and earth. And I am on the phone to Theo Epstein, and I'm begging on my hands and rich knees, if I'm Ed Rogers, please come to Toronto and fix this. What are your thoughts on that?
What? Theo? Wouldn't that be something, eh? I know you like the movie stuff. Wasn't he speaking to Theo at the time in the movie?
Yeah, he was.
So,
he was.
Yeah, oh, dude, I again, from a building standpoint, from building the team, I totally am fine. But you have to win your audience. You got to win your fans. And that's going to be very important. Again, one of the things that the Blue Jay fans dislike so much about Shatkins is that they're just totally not engaging with the crowd. They have no idea about our country and our history, and they may bullshit that they've learned some things along the way, but they still are not Canadian like Alex Anthopoulos was. Someone who could relate to the fans, someone who can talk and engage and just always be there. We never had any issues getting Alex to do a show.
It's just crazy in my mind, Barry, that they let this guy walk.
Oh man!
Like it's
now again, that's over.
I know it's over, but it's still unbelievable.
This is what I'm saying.
That they did.
It is unbelievable. It's such a mistake.
You just got to shake your head.
In closing, before we take a break, I'll just say, and I hear exactly what you're saying, Barry, but Theo Epstein is a guy who ingratiated himself to two of the toughest fan bases on earth. Boston Red Sox fans, and he ended the curse of the Bambino. Chicago Cubs fans ends the curse of the GOAT. We need Theo. If you're watching, please come to Toronto and end the curse of the computer. We'll take a break. We'll be right back on Instigating. Welcome back to Instigating with Clarkey and Drury, brought to you by our friends at Conway Furniture here in Listowel. Larry Hudson, Chevrolet Buick GMC in Listowel on the Listowel Squash Courts. Back here, myself, Clarkey, and our good buddy Barry Davis, longtime Blue Jays analyst and reporter. And it's time now. We'll talk a bit about the players, but Clarkey, I know you had just one last thing you wanted to say about Shatkins.
Well, it just reflects on what Barry said about these guys and how they're not in tune with Canada and the fans.
Yes.
We're now 24 hours after a very controversial ending to a season. And we haven't heard from either one of them. And I would just think that we should have heard from one of them today.
They're cowards, man.
Exactly.
They're cowards. They are.
You know why they didn't speak to the media today, guys? You know why?
It'll be an excuse no matter what it is.
No, the computers told them that it was not advisable. They're better to wait 2.5 days. Then they can speak with the media.
Okay.
Come on, guys. Get it. Like, come on.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's exactly what it is. The analytics said that the door, is better to stay locked for a few days.
Exactly. Just get out in front of
it right away.
Just getting out in front of it. You know what I mean? Get out in front of it.
I know.
Would you love to have seen a conversation, like a closed door conversation between those guys after they lost?
You know, the Leafs do the Blueprint show. If the Blue Jays did something like that behind the scenes, that would be
what?
Biggest audience ever.
You'd see Atkins look at Shapiro and go, well, I guess that didn't go the way we hoped, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
No, you know what, though?
Someone's in trouble.
I wouldn't want to see a conversation, because what it actually would be is meet mop. That did not go according to plan. Computer let us down. That's what it actually would have been. And I don't need to see that. Yeah, not bad, eh? Robotic
I've
man.
seen a whole new side of you, Ryan. A whole new side of you that you're presenting.
Dude,
tonight.
I'm hot.
I'm
as red as this Rod Langway jersey, and I understand that.
You know what else is hot? We'll get to that later.
What's hot, dude? We'll get to that later. We know what you're doing.
Okay, do you want to get to the players?
Hot?
Yeah, we want to get to the players. Let's get to the players.
Not hot. Not hot. Let's start.
Start with the start.
Easily the most debauching, confounding, mentally absent play,
polarizing,
that we've maybe ever seen in baseball history.
Oh, the play.
And it's Vlad Guerrero. It's Vlad Guerrero Jr. at second base. Barry, can you? I can't ask you to explain this to me. There's no explaining. It's utterly indefensible. What I'll pose to you is this. There's a lot of noise on Twitter, like we've said. It's hotter than I've ever seen it. Would you trade Vladdy Jr.? I don't want to, based on what I said to you last time you were on. He's 24. I still have that hope somewhere that this guy can be a consistent superstar. But if you were to entertain it, what would you want back? I'll tell you what I'll want after.
First of all, Vladimir Guerrero can absolutely improve as a baseball player. That there's no doubt about that. What concerns me is what's between the ears. And you either have it or you don't. And I'm talking the instincts. I'm talking the discipline. These are things that, and you would think with the pedigree that he would have that already instilled in him. But no, it's more important for him to have a fun conversation with people at first base, to lose focus of the game and get picked off second base. And oh my God, we're not talking game 47. We're talking, do or die game where you should be so freaking focused on what's happening. To me, those are things you cannot teach. You either have it or you don't. So, having said that, Vladimir Guerrero can get them a lot in return. I would be looking probably for a power hitting third baseman that can hit a Josh Donaldson type, right? You can find anybody can play first base. If Brandon Belt comes back for another year, he can play first base. Kevin Biggio can play first base, right? I mean, I'm not worried about who would take his spot at first. I just think that they need to bring in a good, and I wouldn't even have a problem getting somebody a little bit older than Vladdy, more of a veteran guy, because this team desperately needs leadership. And I'm not talking about leadership like Whit Merrifield or Kiermaier. They're great veteran guys, but I'm talking about star leadership, like Jose Bautista was in his prime, was a leader. They need someone in their prime who's a leader. My God, Josh Donaldson could be one of the biggest dinks in the world. But what I really loved about him during his time with the Blue Jays, and it all comes down to that one statement: this isn't the try league, this is the get it done league, right? And that inspired the team. He put him and his team under the bus, put the onus on them, and all of a sudden they respond. And there's no one on this Blue Jays team that can set that example and then go out and do it.
Yeah,
Bobichet's their best hitter, but I just don't see him. He's just a kid to me. He's not someone that they're, come on, put you on my back kind of thing.
That's a really good way to put it. Like guys like Jose Bautista and Josh Donaldson wouldn't have let
they had an
what
edge.
Happened. They had an edge, and they weren't afraid from the outside looking in. Barry, you were on the in, but it looked like they wouldn't be afraid to go to a Vladdy and say, "You got to grow up." And I don't see who would do that now. I don't think Evan Kiermaier has it in him. I just don't see that guy on this team right now.
And there's a difference between this team and the 15 and 16 teams, because you had Mark Burley. My God, Mark Burley was like a father to the rest of the guys on that pitching staff, right? You had LaTroy Hawkins. Oh, man, what a leader he was on that team. You had guys that were veterans. And okay, then you got Jose and Edwin. And, I mean, this team doesn't even come close. And, again, it's not –
that's what I was saying
there's not
earlier.
as much talent. It's not always the talent. Like Jack Armstrong always talked about the sum of the parts, right? It's about building the right group of people together. And Alex was the first one to admit that he messed up big in 2013 because he was trying to build his fantasy team. He admitted that. Oh, I love Reyes and I love this guy. I love that. He learned his lesson. And come around the 2015 season, now all of a sudden he's putting what is a good team of guys that he knows can work together and gel together and make all those right moves. That trade deadline is still one of the best trade deadlines I can remember in Blue Jays history, and what it led them to and the potential that they possibly could have had. Fell just short. But, I don't think Alex gets enough credit. I mean, he got so ripped by fans when they were playing poorly. It was, hashtag fire AA all the time, right? I don't think he got enough credit for what he did.
I agree. And honestly, I think that that's a huge issue. And if Vlad were to go, I need exactly what you said, a power hitting third baseman because I really don't feel like Matt Chapman can come back. Honestly,
No.
like they can give him a qualifying offer, and he's represented by Scott Boras, who's one of the biggest con artists in baseball, and he'll go somewhere else. And look, Clarkey knows this. I was ecstatic when they got him, and he mostly played really great for them. And is still
I like
an
the guy,
elite
he just
defender,
can't hit.
but you cannot bring that guy back. He's going to want 20 to 25 million a year because he's a gold and platinum glover. Great. You can play defense, man. You're a black hole in the batting box.
I will
love
sacrifice
Matt
some
Chapman
of the
so
defense.
much.
I heard a stat.
Yes.
I think he was 1 for 13 with the bases loaded this year. And the first
and the
game
thing
of
is,
the year
he
or something, he
had such
hit
an
a grand
amazing
slam.
April.
Then he went over.
Right, he had an amazing April.
He did.
And we thought, oh, this is going to be the guy we want.
Yeah.
And then he stunk the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
yeah, man.
crap, you could put Ryan Goins on third base and he'll hit probably more than what Chapman did. Oh, Biggio did, didn't he?
Yeah, Biggio, I'm intrigued by. I'm expecting big things from him because he looked like he was one of the only ones starting to put it together. But let's look quickly here at guys that just aren't coming back. I don't think Kevin Kiermaier will be back, so they have a void at center field because you're not going to put George Springer back there now. You're going to want to keep him in right and save his legs. He's still got injury concerns, so you got a void in center field. Whit Merrifield is not going to come back. Yep. Especially, they have a mutual option. He's not coming back, especially after
his comments.
That's good.
Whit Merrifield last night after commenting on taking Jose Berrios out early on Wednesday. I hated it, frankly. It's not what cost us the game, but it's the kind of baseball decisions that are taking away from managers and baseball at this stage of the game. So he's not back either.
The upstairs too there.
Yes, he is.
No question.
Yes, he is.
And Whit Merrifield's a no BS guy, good veteran dude, one of the few leaders on the team.
You're right. He was the guy who looked at Vladdy this year like,
Ryu.
stop pouring the water on me.
Yes, he was sick of that too. Hyunjin Ryu will not be back. There's talks he might go home, and he was a great soldier here.
Might retire, yeah.
There are holes to be filled here, and Matt Chapman, Brandon Belt. Yeah. Nah, even if he
might
comes
retire,
back for
he's
one more
talking about possibly retiring. So
I wonder if they could trade Varsho for like Gurriel and Moreno.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
Wouldn't that be a?
But Varsho is a guy that I think if you get the right hitting coach in there,
that's 220.
He can be a dude.
Yeah, you know what? And even as a fourth outfielder, I love his defense. He's done some amazing, and he's a smart player. He's smart on the bases. I don't mind him as a fourth outfielder. Runner. Yeah, I don't mind him at all as a fourth outfielder.
Perfect.
I agree.
He's a lefty bat. He's a lefty bat too.
So give up two starters. One guy hit 24 home runs this year for that guy, for a fourth outfielder.
Well,
great trade.
I'm not saying the trade was good.
I know you're not. I'm not.
No, now it's been a year.
Another bad trade.
It's a year. It's a year. Let's see what next year brings for Dalton Varsho. Okay, a guy who I still think has who's got a very high ceiling. I get it. Now, I think that they're guys. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, John Gibbons always said that, a decision is always based on the result of it. And a lot of times a good decision gets a bad result, and sometimes a bad decision gets a good result.
Yeah.
So, and this is what you see in baseball,
I still don't
right?
think keeping out Alejandro Kirk over Moreno was the right thing to do. I really don't.
Oh, no.
I didn't at the time,
they got all excited over that little window from Kirk where he looked like he was going to be the next coming of something, but never happened.
No.
Yeah, time will tell. And there are guys that they're going to probably be able to target in the offseason from teams that don't want to pay guys. I said it a while ago, and I've brought his name up before in trade discussions with our friend Rob Longley. I really feel like a guy that you could go and get potentially for that outfield who's a really great hitter and hits all the time with runners in scoring position. I feel like Brian Reynolds is a Blue Jay, man. I really feel like Brian Reynolds is a Blue Jay. And I really would love for them to go get him, but they've got some question marks here, man. They got not only the disdain with the front office, but they got some player personnel question marks, man. They really do.
I tell you what, guys, this is going to be a fun off season.
Well, let's hope it starts early.
A lot of crap go down.
Let's hope it starts early with the firing of two guys.
Yeah,
and we're going to have to have you back on.
And maybe that's why we haven't heard from them yet.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe that's why we haven't heard from them yet. Maybe
Fingers
they're,
crossed.
let's start a rumor.
Maybe they're
guys.
packing their desks. Maybe they're packing their desks.
And
when
you know what the
something
worst
goes
thing is?
down,
I'm just going to throw this in there too.
please.
The ownership of this
Do
team and Eddie Rogers. I don't know.
Nothing we can do about that. You can't fire an owner.
I know, but we could hope.
And
he
to their
sells.
credit,
Let's cool our
they're
money.
spending money.
Yeah.
They are spending money. Like they are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't
they don't
know,
have my
man.
cable money anymore.
no,
Don't have mine either.
Some other people might feel the same.
Mine's
after
going to
what we
Whiteman.
just saw. Anyway, listen, Barry, it's great to have you on. I know that you got your cover bands that are rocking and rolling here. We
November
ain't petty.
11th.
I love it.
November 11th.
We were
11th.
petty.
It's the Idiots with Driven at Spot 1 in Brampton. November
Love it.
11th, Saturday, November 11th. I'm going to see you there, Ryan. I know Clarkey's too far for you, but Ryan, he don't care. He'll
Too
make
far
the drive.
from me. He lives 2
We
minutes
should
from
go.
me.
Yeah,
It's worth the drive to Acton if we were playing.
It's Acton. That's not.
No.
no, it's
Brampton.
Not
That's not bad.
Brampton.
Brampton, that's not bad either. No,
Brampton, not
yeah,
bad
we
at
should-
all.
Not
Okay, let's
bad
go.
at all.
Write it down.
We should
Ryan.
go.
It's a Saturday night.
Yeah.
We should
I'll
go.
buy you a drink.
And I also know that we ain't petty
Coca-Cola
is
for you,
a
Clarkey.
big thing too.
Yes.
We were petty today, and we deserved to be, didn't we, Barry?
I love it. I don't even know if I can respond to that because that should be the final words of the show.
It should be, but we've got more coming up thanks to our buddy Barry Davis. We're going to see more of him soon because there's going to be news, and we love to have Barry on to discuss the Blue Jays. What a fun chat. We'll be right back with our couch potatoes of the week, brought to you by Conway Furniture. Next, you're on Instigating. Here we go. Let's do it. Back to wrap things up here on what's been a
You
stressful
okay?
episode of
Are you
Instigating.
okay?
No, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not going to be okay for a while. You know this, Clarkey. I take losses in sports, and I've heard this a lot from people, and I can't stand when people say this to me. It's just a game.
No, I know.
Worst thing you can say to an ailing sports fan. It drives me up the wall. I get where they're coming from. Like they're
We
trying to like encourage
let's
me.
get back into this. We've talked too much about it already. Let's
No,
just
I know, but I'm not okay yet. It'll be a little while. I'm gonna go through my process, crawl into my hole, and reassess myself, and I'll put myself back together. Okay, and it'll be a long journey, but we're gonna do it. Now we've been hot on this show.
hot.
We've been
very
hot today.
You know what
Okay,
else is hot?
and we know that despite questions about who's going to be large and in charge of the Jays next year,
Hey,
we know something about who's hot.
Well, the
Tell
deals
me.
are hot. The deals are. Say it.
Tell me, the deals are always hot.
They're
No
always
matter
hot,
the
and you
time of
said
year.
large. Perfect segue, or segue, the way, however you want to say it.
Well, okay,
Because
it's not that,
large SUVs are back in stock at Larry
but-
Hudson.
oh,
We have the
just in
Yukons.
time.
We have the Yukon XLs. We have Tahoes and Suburbans. They're all in stock and they're ready to go. So if you've been looking, because these have been the hardest vehicles to find the last 2 years, if you're still looking for a Yukon XL, a Tahoe, a Suburban, Larry Hudson's got it. As we all know, Hudson's has it. And come on down. Ryan, this is where you jump back in and give the address.
Yes, come down to
2000.
our friends at Larry Hudson Chevrolet Buick GMC, where the deals are hot.
They're hot.
1000 Wallace Avenue, Listowel, Ontario.
That's right.
There you go.
In stock now. Come on and get them.
Just in time for winter too, right? Where we can all
Uh-huh.
be, depressed about what's occurred with the Jays, and you're going to need one of those large SUVs.
They are 4x4s.
to slug through the mud
they're
and
sweet.
muck of another depressing offseason. Okay, so if
Yes,
4x4
it
help
will
to
be.
dig yourself out of this,
Yeah.
Barry Hudson's has it.
Has
And you know
it.
who else has great stuff? Our friends at Conway Furniture.
Yep.
We got great swag. They got great
We do.
stuff in there. And
do.
it's time. It's time for our friends at Conway Furniture sponsoring our great segment, the Couch Potato of the Week. Look, I don't feel like anybody's going to be watching this and be surprised by what we're likely both going to be picking here. I have a good feeling that you're on the same journey as me here. Tell us
Here's the
who
deal.
your couch potato is. Tell me.
I want to go
Tell
back
me.
because I had it all arranged. for my
Okay.
couch potato.
I did too. I had to change mine.
Things. I changed mine too. So I
Yes.
let the audience know. We don't discuss this beforehand. We don't know who's couch potatoes, who's. So we may be talking about the same guy here, but I don't know. But I do want to mention the guy I was going to do. Okay,
Please.
so I'm going to go back here, and if Adam can throw up the picture to the Ryder Cup. And this man, Patrick Cantlay, who unfortunately he's got a large head, I guess, because he wouldn't wear the USA hat because he said they didn't fit. And the funny thing is, a couple of years ago in the Ryder Cup, he didn't wear a hat either because he says they didn't fit. It's strange to me because, as you can see, Patty does wear a hat, and he wore a hat at the President's Cup. Interesting. Do you know what the difference is, Ryan, between the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup? Do you know what the difference is? They actually get paid to play in the President's Cup, and they don't get paid to play in the Ryder Cup. Oh, and look, he's got a hat when he's on tour. He wears a hat, and he probably gets paid to wear this hat, I would imagine. Yeah. So
Goldman
the
Sachs.
other thing that's really weird to me is the hats they use now are the snapback hats. Do you know what that means? They are adjustable.
Generally, they're adjustable. Yeah,
they're adjustable. Right.
One size fits all.
So Patrick Cantlay, for you to stand in front of the people and say, I didn't wear a hat because they didn't fit. Don't lie to me. Just don't lie to me. It's an outright lie.
I really have a problem with this as well. We're double dosing. We're double dosing our couch potato, and that's fine. This is our show. We're in charge of this. Our friends at Conway Furniture deserve a double dose. That's agree with you, though. I watched that, and I was so glad to see Europe destroy the United States, mostly because of this. I think that Patrick, look, if you're going to stand there and be all about making money, fine. I don't care. You're a pro golfer. You're a pro athlete.
Tell us if you're protesting. If you're protesting, tell people why you're protesting, or it's not a protest.
You're right. Don't sit. Look, I come from the punk hardcore scene. You stand up for what you believe in. Don't stand there and do what you're doing and talk to people like we're stupid. You're a gutless pig, Patrick Cantlay. And speed it up for God's sake, would you?
Exactly.
I've had enough. Now,
okay.
So now,
my real
couch
potato. Well, is there any question? Like, really? Like, this guy not only is my couch potato, but it's perfect because he was laying down on this play. It is the biggest gaffe in Blue Jays history for Vladdy Guerrero to get picked off second base in a playoff game that you haven't scored any runs, and there's two runners on, and you haven't scored a run in the game. And then for him to lie there and wave his arm saying, check the video, get up and run off the field like a man. This guy, I've said it all year, Ryan, he's got to mature. And
dude,
it's not even close. It wasn't even close.
Oh, Correa had him.
Look at that right there. Look at that right there. He's lying down just like he is on his couch. He is my couch potato.
It's a great one, and it's an obvious one, and I knew you were going to pick that, Clarkey.
Yeah.
Like, again, we don't tell each other what the couch potato is. No. Maybe one day we'll both pick the same thing. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
But I knew you were going to pick that. I knew it because you love to harp on Vladdy, and for very good reason.
It's kind of easy.
Okay, we've talked about that tonight. I just am getting really tired of this, man. Like, I'm wasting bullets trying to save this guy in my own mind. We talked about that the last time our buddy Barry Davis was on, about how I want to believe he's 24. I want to still believe that superstar's in there. And I have a hard time with people going, we should trade him. The Jays should trade him and give up on him, because I know it's a different sport, but people said that about my guy Ovi. They got to trade Ovi. That would have been a disaster. So I'm still withholding this guy getting it. But the Jays have got to get a guy in there who can drill it into these guys, not just Vlad,
right?
All these guys' heads. Hey,
we're
here to be great. We're here to play baseball. The rookie hype is over. We
already got into all this. Let's get to your couch potato.
I understand.
We're running out of time.
All that's over. We're running. Yes. Well, you know what? We're going to push it here. Okay. My couch potato.
Yeah.
Is a man who, by the time this airs, should no longer be the general manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. And that is the man named Ross H. Atkins. I don't even know if that's his middle initial. I'm just doing it because this guy thinks he's like Ross Atkins Esquire. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
I think his initials are,
I'm fed up with this guy.
I think his middle initials are PC.
Yeah. Yeah. With Microsoft Word.
Exactly.
Ross M.W. Atkins.
Yeah, exactly.
Ross Excel spreadsheet.
MS DOS.
Atkins. That's MS DOS. I like that. Bill Gates sponsor us. I can't do this anymore. This guy is a failure of a baseball executive in every sense of the word, from the F to the E of the word failure. He is in every standing letter of it. This guy has never done anything of significance in his career. Mark Shapiro, I don't care that you're making the new lower bowl. I don't care that you've made a fun little patio deck for fans to have fun on, which you're going to charge them double for next year anyway. If you want to stick around, fine. Build your goofy ballpark stuff, charge people double, but you cannot keep propping this moron up anymore if you want to stay here. Jays fans are not stupid. This country's not stupid. We deserve better than this. And this guy is a complete moron. And I don't want to hear anybody going, oh, well, we liked the team in April. We thought the team would be good. Yeah, but that's just the point. He relies on computers and things telling him, oh, it should be good when we do this. It should be good when we pull Jose Berrios. It should be good when we don't acquire any meaningful bats at the deadline when my team magically can't hit. Has he done some good moves? Of course, every executive has, but it's the things he hasn't done. And most of all, being a failure to react to the situation that's playing in real life, not in a game, not in the Sims, not in the Sims baseball player builder, real life. His failure to react to real life is the biggest indictment on this guy. No top-end prospects in the system. The only ones they had, they traded them away for Dalton Varsho, who had a failure of a year. Yes, he was good defensively. No one on this team could get meaningful hits. They were 26th in scoring, runners in scoring position, and they were 27th in batting average with runners in scoring position. Yes, he got Jordan Hicks and supplemented the bullpen. What they needed at the deadline was a bat. Maybe two, and he didn't. And then he pulled that garbage with Jose Berrios. No more. This guy's lazy, and he was leaned back on his recliner chair at Target Field, looking at his computer playing The Sims. I'm done. No more. I'm sick of it. That's my couch potato.
You know what the best part about it is?
What is it? Is there a best part?
He bought that recliner at Conway Furniture, where HST and delivery is included.
Better of HST and delivery. The price you see is what you get with our friends at Conway Furniture. Unlike Ross Atkins and the Blue Jays, it's not what you get with them. We were told this team was going to be a World Series contender. What an absolute joke that they flushed that pitching staff down the toilet. The toilet. Does Conway Furniture doesn't sell toilets, but I bet you can get some nice stuff in there for your bathrooms.
Maybe.
If they did sell toilets, they'd be the most comfortable toilets in the world.
Hey, they have
just like the furniture that they have in there.
Yeah.
They got They got all kinds of stuff. You want to doll up the bathroom? It's not always about being a couch potato with our friends at Conway Furniture.
You could do
beautiful
new flooring.
Kitchen sets.
You could do new flooring in your kitchen, in your bathroom.
Let's go. You know what? And I might need some new flooring to cover up the puke stains that I laid down on my floor watching the Blue Jays. I can't even believe it. Dude, you got me all volcanic again. I'm so hot. I can't do this anymore.
Okay,
Hot like the deals at Larry Hudson's.
Right.
Now listen.
Right.
Yes.
Show's nearly over.
Show's nearly over.
You need to breathe. You need to breathe.
I'm going to be okay, guys. I'm going to be okay. And we're going to be okay here on Instigating because of our great friends at Conway Furniture, East End of Listowel, Highway 86. Go in there. The price you see on the items in there includes HST and free delivery included in that. Our great friends over at Larry Hudson Chevrolet Buick GMC. Deals are hot. They're always hot over there. Go see Clarkey if you don't have a rep. If you have a rep, go visit them. 1000 Wallace Avenue East, right here in Listowel. Beautiful place to go and buy a brand new large SUV or whatever floats your boat. Whatever you want. Don't let the computer tell you what to do. Decide for yourself. Don't be John Schneider.
But the computer tells me that you're right. Yeah.
You pick.
Yeah.
That's right. Be an individual.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of individuals, as an individual, you can go and sign up right now, easier than ever, to go play squash at the Listowel Squash Courts. Our buddy Alan, our weekly game. I'm going to get him. One of these days.
You know what I did? I just signed up for a squash tournament. Black Knight squash tournament in St. Catharines. Al and I are heading down with Mike and Jim from the courts. That's what it's all about. A community.
I love it.
We've built a community.
Yes.
I got 4 good buddies now. Mike and Jim and Al and I are going down, getting an Airbnb, and we're going to be there beginning of November for a cool Black Knight squash tournament. And I'll report back.
I love it.
I went into men's
part
D
of that community.
Division. I don't know. They're thinking I'm sandbagging.
That's
but
okay.
I haven't played. I'm old.
We'll see.
I should be in men's D, right?
You'll figure it out, buddy.
I think so.
You'll figure it out.
I think so.
You'll figure it out. And you don't need to figure out where to find this show because you know what? Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9. We air on Whiteman TV. That's Channel 6. I'll give it to you.
Okay,
Channel 6.
Give me the last word.
For our Whiteman subscribers, we debut on our YouTube channel Friday nights at 9. You can find us on social media at Instigating Pod, where we post great clips from the show, including the couch potato, brought to you by our friends at Conway Furniture. Of course, our great friends over at Larry Hudson Chevrolet Buick GMC and the Listowel Squash Courts. Remember, you can find the podcast version on all the best podcast apps. Clarkey,
one last thing to say. We've railed on the Blue Jays. We got to move on. And as you know, it was my birthday a couple weeks ago, and my beautiful girlfriend bought me this new chair. You see that?
Oh,
isn't that nice?
That's sick.
Isn't that nice? So all I have to say,
that's a good one,
is go Leafs go. It's a new season.
Go Leafs go. Absolutely. All right, we'll be back next week, hopefully more calmer, for more Instigating.